Hi everyone and welcome to the Learning Ladder. Today I'm sharing with you how I teach maths in 6th grade. So we have been using Saxon Math, we have been using Simply, Charlotte Mason's, Pet Store, Your Business Math series, and we've also been using Kitten Math. So I'll first talk about Saxon. So if you use Saxon from K up to now, I feel like the K through 3 series is very different than this version. They're very hands-on, lots of manipulatives. This is not that way at all, but you do have some additional hands-on activities, for example, in the investigations, which is, for example, one of these. So there is some hands-on aspect to it, but obviously it's not the same as the younger years, but you would obviously expect that. I'll link the video that I did from when we were using Saxon, and I think it was in 1st grade, so you can see what that version is like, the K through 3 years. But this is how we've been using this version. We pretty much kept it the same throughout all the levels we've done. So we switched obviously to well, not switched, but moved on to this style, textbook style, in 4th grade, because that's when obviously 5-4 starts. So they do have the 2 levels on there, so you can use them in either of the levels, and I will actually link a video as well from Stephen Hake, who was one of the authors of the curriculum. So he explains all about how he envisaged Saxon to be used and everything else. His idea is slightly different than the way we use it, but overall I feel like we use as much of it as we need. So every lesson has a fact practice section. It also has mental math and problem solving. So we actually don't do the fact practice at the beginning of the lesson, we do that at the end. So there we go. It's just, you have to make curriculum work for you, and that's how we prefer to do it. We do the mental math. Every year we've always done all of the mental math questions, but this year we have picked. So I'll pick a couple, she'll pick a couple, rather than doing every single one. It's just because as math gets higher in levels, it takes longer, there's more required, and we don't want to spend all day doing maths, but we still want to make sure we're taking chunks out of what we want. So we do still do some of the mental math, just not every single question. Now, we always do the full new concept, so I will go through it with her. It is actually written to the student, but we've always just done it that way. Maybe when she gets older, she'll eventually switch to doing it herself, but right now I've always taught the lesson because I don't always feel like it's just enough. I think I always like to give my own explanations and things for stuff and give my own examples. It's just my preference. So I do the lesson with her. Then we'll do the lesson practice again together. So we'll do all of the lesson practice questions. So in this one, it's very short. Sometimes there's quite a lot more, but in this lesson, there's only 4 questions. And then for mixed practice, we'll do odds or evens plus all the ones from this lesson practice. So if you notice, it'll have here the number of when they did that particular lesson. So when I say that we don't just do all odds and evens, we also do the lesson practice. In this particular mixed practice, I'd be looking for anything that's got 111 on it. So let's see. Does anything have 111 on it? They don't always, but if they do, we will always do those as well. So we do odds or evens plus anything that's from this particular lesson. And again, as I said, you can just find it by looking at the number and you'll know which ones to pick. So that's how we do it. That's how we've always done it. It works really well for us. I mean, obviously it's really black and white. There's nothing exciting about it, but it gets the job done. She's progressed really well with it over the years. And I like the fact that it's already all written for the whole rest of the curriculum, that we don't have to wait for levels or anything else like that to come through, and the stress of is the level going to be there in time for me to start and things. We have tried one of the curriculum. We tried the Good and the Beautiful. I think that was actually in 4th grade. We actually tried halfway through the year. We switched to the Good and the Beautiful. No, I'll take that back. We started the Good and the Beautiful instead of doing 5-4. So the first half of the year we just did purely the Good and the Beautiful, and it just didn't work out for us. She didn't like it. She liked how bright and colourful it was, but she just didn't like how it worked and everything else. So halfway through we went and started 5-4, and we've continued with Saxon throughout. I still do look at the Good and the Beautiful and think what a lovely, beautiful curriculum it is, and it does sound really good and everything else, and it does remind me quite a bit of Saxon because there are a lot of similarities between them, but we've just stuck with the original version because obviously having tried that one, this works better for her. So once she's completed a lesson, that is when she'll do her fact practice. She'll either sometimes do it after the lesson, or she'll do it later on in the day, in the afternoon, or she'll even sometimes do it in the evening. But she'll get her fact practice in, and I think they are really important, and it does really help. So I definitely think not to skip those, because it's really important to know your facts as you get into the more difficult levels of maths. In my opinion, it makes it so much easier if you do know them. So it's not drill and kill. It's really not. They are really useful. So don't. I mean, sometimes you do have to remember things, and maths is definitely one of those times, in my opinion. So that's everything with Saxon. Now, we've been really enjoying the Your Business Math series. This is the pet store version. They do have another one out, which is called Sports Store or something like that. And this has been so fun. It's really interesting the way it's set up. You get to actually keep inventory, fill orders. It's just like what it would be like if you owned your own pet store, and it's just been such and it does remind me of Monopoly a little bit with the chance cards, but it's not the same. So you've got you paying your bills and everything else. You get to budget for different things. So we really enjoyed it. And it tells you obviously how much everything costs, and then the orders start coming in. So we have really enjoyed this curriculum. Okay, so here's an example of what the kit math looks like. So this is day 28. So it'll give you some information for you to read through. Then it gives you real world math problems that you have to complete. It's really a really fun way to learn maths. I wish you'd actually bring out a dog one because my daughter's really enjoyed this one. So this is for ages 8 through 12. So I still do use manipulatives at times. So for example, fractions, we use the fraction pieces that we've had from learning resources if we need to. I've also had different manipulatives that I've brought into it over the years. So when we did time, obviously we had time clocks and other things like that. They do actually ask you to use at certain points different things, money. So I always use R coins. So if you're wondering how you make it work with a UK-US difference, whenever it's mentioned about money, not now because obviously she knows the difference, but when she was younger, I would use UK money. I always had, when she was younger, a pound sign on our board, so she knew that this was talking about dollars, but we use the pound, and it's never really been a problem at all. She's always known that there's a difference, but it's just never been an issue, because I know some people worry about those kind of things, and does your child never recognize pounds? No, that's not true. She knows the difference between US coins and ours, and it's never been a problem at all. This does have metric in here as well as the US system, so she is still learning metric measurements as well. I guess the true test of whether we'll continue with Saxon is how she does with pre-algebra and algebra as we get to that stage. There are other curriculums out there that we could potentially go to if she wasn't grasping it from Saxon. We won't know yet until we do the next level, because that's when, it does start to bring in terms of it before in this one anyway, but it's more so in the next one when it's more heavily featured. So it will obviously decide whether or not I do actually have algebra 1 as well as 8-7. So my plan is to stick with Saxon, but obviously if it's not working, I have no qualms with changing and getting something else. But for right now, it's worked fine. As I said, we did try one other thing in 4th grade, but went straight back to Saxon after half a year. And she's progressed really well with it. She's definitely more like myself, more language arts orientated. She loves writing. Maths is not her favourite subject, but at the end, it's not. She can do it. It's not that she can't do it. She can do it. It's like some people just like different things. But Saxon has worked well for her, and I think for example, if she decides to go to veterinary medicine, obviously she needs to be able to be competent at maths, and I do trust that Saxon will get her there. He's got us so far, and I do believe that we could achieve the necessary qualifications with Saxon to enable her to go to university to be a vet if she wanted to. I do have faith in it. I think it's a strong, rigorous, solid curriculum. There's a ton of review at the front of the book, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think I've noticed as we've gone through the different years, some people skip the review. I don't. We still do the review. There was one time when I skipped some of it, but not overly. I didn't skip too much of it, but I've not done that at all this year. We did from front to back. We obviously haven't finished yet, but we started at the beginning. We didn't skip any of the review because I think it just makes them stronger to practice those things. And though it might seem, oh, this is really easy, it does after a while get more difficult, obviously, as you get into the new content. But I just think that maths shouldn't always be every page is so hard that they have to spend hours and hours doing it. So I don't have any issues with some of the lessons being easier. And as I said, it gives you confidence. Math confidence is something that a lot of adults lack because, either from education in school or whatever reason, there's so many people that say, I hate maths. So I think it's fine that some of the lessons at the beginning are review because it just gives you more confidence. I can always tell when she knows what she's doing because you can just tell her eyes light up. She knows what she's doing, and it just makes her feel much, much more confident. So I have no problems with the review section at all. We don't skip it. I haven't this year at all. So yes, and I've also heard some people ask whether or not you could skip this one and go straight to 8-7. I wouldn't do that personally. I think you do need to do this one because this is I think a big step up. So I think someone asked me, could I go from 5-4 to 8-7, and I said no, I really wouldn't. I would definitely do 7-6. I would not skip it, but that's just my personal opinion, of course. So that's everything in today's video. So thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what your favourite math curriculums are. As I said, we've only ever tried Saxon and half a year of The Good and the Beautiful. I've heard some great things about other curriculum, but as I said, it works. Don't switch it. If it didn't work, then we would look at other options, but for right now, it's working. But let me know what you're using. I'd love to hear, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Take care. Bye for now.